Hi, in this video, we are going to see the shortcut to find square root of a complex number. Okay, let us consider a complex number in standard form, that is z is equal to a positive ib. Okay, so the formula or shortcut to find the square root of this complex number is positive or negative square root of absolute value of z positive a over 2 positive I times b over absolute value of b square root of absolute value of z negative a over 2. So this is a shortcut we have to find square root of a complex number which is in standard form a plus ib. Okay, now let us see how this formula or shortcut can be used to find square root of a complex number. Find the square root of 4 plus 3i. Okay, to find the square root of 4 plus 3i using the shortcut, first we need to know the value of absolute value of z. So we can take, there is, let z is equal to 4 positive 3i. So the given complex number is assumed as z. So if you want to use a shortcut, you must know the value of absolute value of z. So I am going to take absolute value on both sides of this complex number. Then I am getting absolute value of z is equal to absolute value of 4 positive 3i. Okay, to get absolute value of a complex number, we have to square the real part, that is 4 square, positive, and square the imaginary part, which is positive 3, that is 3 square. So we get square root of 16, positive 9, square root of 25. So the absolute value of z is 5. Okay, if you compare the given complex number with a plus ib or a plus bi, so we get a is equal to 4 and b is equal to 3. Okay, now in this shortcut, we just have to plug in z is equal to 4 positive 3i and absolute value of z is equal to 5 and a is equal to 4 and b is equal to 3. We just have to substitute all these values into the formula or shortcut. Okay, let's do that. Square root of, instead of z, we can write 4 positive 3i equal to positive or negative. So for absolute value of z, square root of absolute value of z is 5. Positive a is 4 over 2 positive I times the value of b is 3 over absolute value of 3 square root of absolute value of z is 5, negative a is 4 over 2. Positive or negative, square root of 5 plus 4 is 9 over 2 positive I times 3 over absolute value of 3 is just 3. Square root of 5 negative 4 is 1. 5 negative 4 is just 1 and we have 2 in denominator. So we get square root of 1 over 2 over here. Positive or negative. So if we take square root for 9, it will be 3. And 2 is not a perfect square. So we have to write this to as square root of 2, positive. I times the value of this 3 over 3 is just 1 times, and square root of 1 is just 1 over square root of 2. So the next step, it will be positive or negative 3 over square root of 2, positive I times 1 is I times 1 over square root of 2. Okay, now we have tried this result one time for positive sign and one time for negative sign, because here in front of we have positive or negative. So let's do that the next page. 3 over square root of 2 positive I times 1 over square root of 2, or the second time I'm going to write with negative sign, 3 over square root of 2 negative, positive I times 1 over square root of 2. So 3 over square root of 2 positive I times 1 over square root of 2, or this negative sign can be distributed to each term inside the parentheses, and I get negative 3 over square root of 2. Negative times positive become negative I times 1 over square root of 2. So on the left side, we have square root of 4 positive 3i. So the square root of the complex number 4 positive 3i is equal to 3 over square root of 2 positive I times 1 over square root of 2, or negative 3 over square root of 2 negative I times 1 over square root of 2. Let's look at another example. Find the square root of negative 6 positive 8i. Okay, let z is equal to negative 6 positive 8i. So to use a shortcut of formula, we need absolute value of z. So absolute value of z is equal to square root of the negative 6 the whole square. That is the real part square plus the square of the imaginary part, which is 8 square. So it's 36 positive 64. Then we get 100. Square root of 100 is 10. Okay, now if I compare the given complex number with a plus bi, I get a is equal to negative 6 and b is equal to 8. So now we can plug in all these values. That is 10 for absolute value of z, negative 6 for a, and 8 for b into the formula. So we get, and this is square root of, in square root of z. So z can be replaced by the given complex number, that is negative 6 positive 8i, positive or negative square root of 10 positive negative 6 over 2 positive I times the value of b is 8 over absolute value of 8 and square root of 10 negative of negative 6 over 2. So we get positive or negative square root of, so positive times negative will be negative. 10 negative 6 is going to be 4 over 2 positive I times 8 over absolute value of 8 is just 8. Square root of, this is negative times negative will become positive. 10 plus 6 is 16 over 2. Positive and negative. We get square root of 4 over 2 is the square root of 2 positive. So I times this 8 over 8 will become 1. I times 1 is 1. And 16 over 2 is square root of 8. So positive or negative, square root of 2 positive I times. So if I simplify this square root of 1 second. So square root of 8 is can be written as 2 times 2 times 2. And for these two 2's, 1, 2 will come out of the square root. So we get 2 square root of 2. So for 8, square root of 8, we can write 2 times square root of 2. Okay, now what we can do is like the same thing what we have done in the previous example. So we have tried this result one time for positive sign and other time for negative sign. So we get square root of 2 positive I times 2 square root of 2 or negative square root of 2 positive I times 2 square root of 2. So square root of 2 positive I times 2 square root of 2, or this negative can be distributed to the terms inside the parentheses, and we get negative square root of 2 negative I times 2 square root of 2. So the square root of the complex number negative 6 positive 8i is equal to square root of 2 positive I times 2 square root of 2, or negative square root of 2 negative I times 2 square root of 2. Let's look at one more example. So here we have to find the square root of negative 5 negative 12i. So let z is equal to negative 5 negative 12i. Then absolute value of z is equal to, you have to take square root and square the real part, that is negative 5 the whole square, and also square the imaginary part, which is negative 2 the whole square. Then you add the two squares. So we get 25 positive. Then negative 12 the whole square is equal to positive 144. So we get 169. Square root of 169 is 13. Okay, now if you compare the given complex number with a plus bi, we get a is equal to negative 5 and b is equal to negative 12. So now we have to plug in all these values into the shortcut. So square root of, instead of z, we can write negative 5 negative 12i equals to positive or negative square root of absolute value of z is 13 positive negative 5. It is the value of a is negative 5 over 2 positive I times the b is, the value of b is negative 12 over absolute value of negative 12. Square root of z is 13, absolute value of z is 13, and negative, the value of a is negative 5 over 2. So positive or negative, square root of 13 negative 5 over 2 positive I times negative 12 over the absolute value of negative 12 is just positive 12 square root of 13 plus 5 over 2 because negative times negative will become positive. Positive or negative. 13 minus 5 is going to be square root of 8 over 2. Positive I times negative 12 over 12 will become negative 1. And square root of 13 plus 5, inside the square 13 plus 5 is 18 over 2. So we get positive or negative. Square root of 4 and positive times negative become negative. 1 times I is I and square root of 18 over 2 is just 9. Okay, let's continue the next page. Positive or negative. The value of the square root of 4 is just 2 minus I times square root of 9 is just 3. Okay, so we can write this result one time for positive sign and other time for negative sign. So we get 2 minus I times 3 or negative of 2 minus I times 3. So 2 minus I times 3 or you can distribute this negative sign to this one and this one. You'll be getting negative 2 and negative times negative will become positive I3. So square root of we have negative 5, negative 12i. So the square root of the complex number negative 5, negative 12i is equal to 2 minus I3 or negative 2 positive I3. I think this video helps you to understand how to find square root of a complex number easily. Thank you.